Did you know Marvel has a superhero who is just as good at kicking ass as he is at doing kickflips? Yes, I'm talking about Dwayne Taylor, the new warrior known as Night Thrasher. Let's talk about him. First, thanks for watching JLS Comics. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all of our weekly content. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into our story. Dwayne M. Taylor was born in New York City to Melody Ann and his father, Daryl Taylor. Daryl was part of an elite military recon unit that was fighting in the Sanglong War. In country, this unit found the hidden temple of the Dragon's Breath, and within the temple, the evil sorceress of the Dragon's Breath cult named Tai, along with the mystical Well of All Things inside. Tai and the unit cut a deal to marry Tai's children, a pact in order to harness the power in the well, though Daryl said no because he had a family back in New York. Daryl's friend Andrew Cord, who was part of the unit, ended up marrying one of the ladies who was named Miami. Another named Diego, aka Left Hand, stole the power from his child, and Left Hand would later form a cult called Folding Circle. When they were back in America, Daryl and Andrew went into business together using an inheritance that Daryl got and formed the Taylor Foundation, which would grow into a billion-dollar multinational conglomerate of financial networks. Tai wanted revenge on Daryl for him declining the pact, so she took control of Andrew's mind and forced him to kill Daryl and Melody right in front of their son Dwayne. She then manipulated Dwayne, clouding his memory of the murder but instilling in him a deep-seated desire for revenge. Andrew Cord and Miami ended up having two children named Aaron Cord and Janelle Cord, who exhibited powers from the Well of All Things, and these two would later take on the names Midnight's Fire and Silhouette. But early on, to protect them, she took them away and hid them from Andrew and Tai. Instead, Andrew and Tai became the legal guardians of Dwayne Taylor, training him to be a fighter while also controlling the Dwayne Foundation behind his back and without his knowledge, cutting deals with shady organizations like AIM and Roxxon. And so unsavory characters became pervasive and corruption rampant in the Taylor Foundation. So all of Dwayne's training morphed him into a vigilante named Night Thrasher. According to Marvel's Tom DeFalco, he asked a comic book distributor rep what teenage boys were buying at the time, and the rep said that they were buying skate magazines like Thrasher and Trash, and so DeFalco decided to base a new character on that, and thus the concept for Night Thrasher was born. It was also Andrew Cord who influenced Dwayne into creating and leading his own team. At first, Night Thrasher came across Silhouette and Midnight's Fire, and they started working together, unaware of their deeper ties to each other. But this venture ended when Silhouette was shot and became paralyzed. Midnight's Fire turned evil, blamed Night Thrasher for his sister's tragedy, and then went off on his own to plot how to get revenge on Thrasher, a plotline that would follow Dwayne for a long time. This led to Dwayne creating his suit of armor for himself. He wanted to formalize a superhero group, so he started doing research, even breaking into databanks and Emma Frost's place for dossiers and data, and pulled together a new group. Dwayne decided to model this new team after the Fantastic Four. He considered himself Reed Richards, Firestar as Human Torch, Marvel Boy as Invisible Woman, and Nova as the Thing. Later, while fighting a Herald of Galactus named Terex, Speedball and Namorita joined the team. And then in New Warriors issue 1, Night Thrasher dropped Richard Rider off of a rooftop to kickstart his Nova powers again. When the Avengers showed up to take credit for taking down Terex, Dwayne's team was frustrated, so after a news report dubbed them the New Warriors, they officially formalized and the team took that moniker on as their team name. On their first mission together with their new name, the New Warriors aided Thor in his fight with the Juggernaut. So Night Thrasher and the New Warriors fought many battles together against foes like Genetech's bioengineered team Psion-X, Stain International's Mandroids, the Punisher, and even Emma Frost and her Hellions team after she came to Dwayne's place demanding to know why he broke into her place when he was forming the team. Through this time period, Night Thrasher also had to protect Silhouette from Bengal, he thought, but ultimately this pitted him against Frank Castle, the Punisher. The next story after these battles took place on an alternate Earth which was ruled by a female Sphinx. They teamed up with Magneto of the Mutant Liberation Front to defeat Sphinx and reset reality to get back to their own Earth. In the Kings of Pain story arc, the New Warriors then found themselves battling with Cable and X-Force, a battle where Night Thrasher took on Shatterstar. But that was a misunderstanding, as X-Force thought that Ferments and Rosen from Genetech had hired the terrorist group Alliance of Evil, and to that Rosen asked, why would we do that when we have our own team, the Psion-X? The teams worked together and uncovered it was actually AIM who had hired the Alliance of Evil. The Alliance's leader, Frenzy, led them to two mutants named Harness and Piecemeal to stop an energy absorption plot that involved the recreated Proteus. In Fantastic Four issue 356, Alicia Master's father, the Puppet Master, decided to control Marvel Boy, and he forced Marvel Boy to attack Johnny Storm and Alicia at their home. Night Thrasher told his team to defend Marvel Boy, thinking that he was okay, but he got free of Puppet Master's control and they were done. Which is when he also realized that this wasn't his daughter Alicia. Nope, it turns out that was a Skrull imposter. In New Warriors issue 14, Dwayne finally apologized for dropping Nova off of a roof to reactivate his powers, and Nova said that they were square. Everything between them was copacetic now. The New Warriors then teamed up with Fantastic Four to once again take on Terex. This was right around the time that Diego Casillas, aka Left Hand, formed the Folding Circle. Left Hand was gathering up people for his team. One of them happened to be Midnight's Fire. Thrash then teamed up with Darkhawk, Spider-Man, Moon Knight, Nova, and the Punisher after the Secret Empire hired this group of armored flyers called the Seekers as reinforcements against the superheroes. And then a 15-year-old kid named Carmelo was brutally beaten. After that, riots broke out, spurred on by the Sons of the Serpent gang, and so Thrash and the team responded. This then pulled in Avengers Rage, Captain America, Black Widow, Falcon, and White Vision. And a short while after this ordeal, the New Warriors and Night Thrasher argued over morality, and so Thrash left the team he founded. Though his true motivation for doing so was not made clear to them. Right after he left, Thrash confronted Left Hand's Folding Circle team. What he was doing was going undercover, pretending to join the Folding Circle, though he didn't tell the rest of the New Warriors, so they assumed he just straight up quit. Night Thrasher ended up fighting the Folding Circle and Thai in Cambodia because he was realizing finally that she was an evil old lady and then stopped her plot to take over Cambodia. Silhouette was almost killed, but he saved her. After both Thai and the Folding Circle were defeated, Night Thrasher decided to rejoin the New Warriors team. The Hero Killer story arc went through all of the Spidey annuals in 1992, along with the New Warriors Annual 2, which paired Thrash and the team with Spider-Man while investigating the disappearance of costumed heroes like Speedball. They battled AIM, Dreadnought, and the Sinister Syndicate. This is also when Night Thrasher got his own 4-issue miniseries called Night Thrasher for Control. Thrash was in San Francisco and later Hong Kong and took on a drug-fueled villain named Tantrum and his boss Trevor Madsen, ultimately defeating them both. So then Andrew Cord was having a change of heart. He hired the Poison Memories gang to kidnap himself so that Thrash would investigate, and in the course of the investigation, uncover all of the corruption in the Taylor Foundation. When he realized it, Dwayne cleaned house, firing everyone that was bad or disloyal. Thrash left the New Warriors team again so that he could get his reformed business back up and running again. And while he was away, Namorita became the leader of the New Warriors. After Silhouette's issues with the Dark Force, she rested in a bed at Dwayne's Ambrose Building penthouse because softer sheets and quote-unquote room service, she said cheekily, was the reason why. With full control now of the Taylor Foundation, now his, Dwayne had a lot on his plate, but he took care of Silhouette the best that he could. In Darkhawk's book, Thrash was with the New Warriors when Zarko the Tomorrow Man and his lackey Servitor came to them, wanting their help, and lured them with going back in time to fix their pasts. But they were able to halt Zarko's plot. And after this, the Poison Memories wanted revenge on Night Thrasher, so they started attacking the Warriors' loved ones, including killing Rage's Granny Staples and kidnapping Speedball's dad and Nova's brother, which prompted all the New Warriors except Thrash to turn themselves over to the Poison Memories to stop the killings. Night Thrasher vowed to give them what they wanted, the hard way. And this led into Night Thrasher's second self-titled comic book series, and there Thrasher went after Kimiko and Victor Hasayaba of the Poison Memories and made a deal with Johnny Lowe to take over the gang for himself. Victor got his own Night Thrasher armor and called himself Red Mirror. Thrash was able to rescue family and free the New Warriors. And then that kid Rage was fired from the Avengers for being too young and turned to the New Warriors. And so through this contact, Night Thrasher basically became a guardian to Rage. Rage had been accused of murdering the leader of the Poison Memories, but when he was cleared, Night Thrasher actually brought Rage to Paris, France to attend his grandmother's funeral. Midnight's Fire then hired a lady named Chagrin to go after Night Thrasher and drive a wedge between him and Silhouette. And so she disguised herself as Silhouette before attacking the Concrete Dragons, so everyone would think that Silhouette was responsible for the attack. Chagrin later attacked Night Thrasher and Silhouette at a warehouse in New Jersey, where Silhouette took Chagrin down with one of her crutches. She said she'd reveal her employer if Night Thrasher would kiss her first. Silhouette said fine, and they got the employer's name of Midnight's Fire. We then meet Sean Lee, the Aardwolf, who happened to be Tiger's competition in Madripoor, and who were both competing against another group called the Folding Circle. Night Thrasher's connection to him was via the Taylor Foundation and a guy named Gyno Dawn. So Night Thrasher ended up following Aardwolf to Madripoor after he thought Folding Circle had kidnapped Silhouette. When Night Thrasher caught up with him, Aardwolf was trying to convince him that Silhouette betrayed him, that she was helping not only the Folding Circle, but also the Concrete Dragons. And so their conversation morphed into a battle where they tumbled out a window and fell right before the waiting Folding Circle. But eventually Night Thrasher escaped with an assist from Silhouette, and the Folding Circle turned against Aardwolf, who ceded some power in Madripoor to the group, and they left defeated. After the Taylor Foundation refused to let Gloria Hancock's air freight business use their airstrip in Bosnia, she hired this group called Air Force, which was Oriole, Sparrow, Cardinal, Killer Shrike, and Tanager. So this group hijacked a Learjet and found all of the Taylor Foundation executives on board, including Dwayne. Taylor fought back, but couldn't put on his gear or he'd end up revealing his true identity. However, he was able to take Oriel's suit and Tanager's helmet and use them to control the rest of the group and force them to either do humanitarian missions with their equipment or be pushed out the plane's door with non-functioning flight suits. When Garthan saw a supernova came to Earth to destroy Richard Rider, Night Thrasher and the team joined with former Galactus heralds Firelord and Airwalker to stop him. And then a guy named the Bandit kidnapped Midnight's Fire in Madripoor, then went to Dwayne's place in New York and attacked again as Thrasher and Still got back together. Bandit, it turns out, was the illegitimate half-brother of Dwayne Taylor, named Danielle Taylor. They fought after he abducted Still, and after Thrasher won, Bandit and Still ultimately started dating. Tantrum then showed back up, now on a killing spree after discovering he had terminal cancer, and after he took his neighbor Miss McCann hostage, Night Thrasher shot him to save her. Thrasher and the Warriors then confronted Tony Stark in the African country of Nadua. Tony was there on behalf of Stain International, who'd started a dam project, inadvertently using corrupt funds. The Taylor Foundation had then taken over the project, which is why the New Warriors were involved, but the fiasco ended in the destruction of the dam. Thrasher then went to a Stark Enterprises building outside of Los Angeles and broke into Tony Stark's bedroom to tell him they needed to talk. He needed Tony's legal clout and Iron Man's tactical help to expose the plot by the tribes in Africa over a crude oil reserve that was covered up when the dam burst. In Night Thrasher issue 13, we meet Tommy, who goes by Scorcher, and Scorcher set up a drug running business in Chinatown, employing a gang called Steel Waves to run the drugs for him. It was then up to Night Thrasher, Silhouette, and Bandit to stop them, and they did, resulting in Scorcher burning down his own business. And then after the New Warriors were sent back in time, Danielle paired up with Andrew Cord to make a new Warriors team. They fought with Sphinx and were able to free the OG New Warriors. In Night Thrasher 18, he joined the anti-government, anti-purity front resistance to help take on an awful group funded by the Azanian government called the Supremacists after they attacked the Wakandan embassy. And he fought them inside the embassy building alongside Black Panther and the ambassador. We then learned that Fire Rescue had taken Tantrum to the hospital to treat his bullet wound and also detoxify his body, though the cancer remained. In a court, the judge ruled him not guilty by reason of insanity and released him into the care of Mrs. McCann, who took care of him for the remaining year of life. And eventually, some of the drug dealers like Stinky Pete stole his old Tantrum drug equipment, and so Night Thrasher had to come back and take them down. In New Warriors issue 60, Night Thrasher brought together a new psionics team, but that didn't last long, and he went back to the New Warriors just in time to battle Volks, an evil dire wraith from Rom lore. After the Onslaught tragedy, most of the heroes were gone, so people like the New Warriors and Spider-Man were working overtime to fight crime, and were happy when the Thunderbolts showed up on scene, though they didn't know their true identities yet. After the New Warriors team was disbanded, Night Thrasher headed overseas to continue learning martial arts, but for a brief moment when the New Warriors reformed in a new volume in 1999, he joined them to help save Iron Fist from a plot by the Hand, and after that he left the team yet again. In 2004's She-Hulk issue 5, Thrasher and the team took down a lady named Southpaw who was robbing Ace Records, and Thrash took her down with an Okinawa nerve pinch. By 2006, the team was out hunting down criminals in their New Warriors van while being trailed by a film crew for the Marvel TV network. He now had a new sleeker, dust-jacketed costume. One criminal they went after was Nitro, who, while televised, blew up and destroyed a school and a playground full of kids, which kickstarted a superhero civil war and years of faction rivalries. Midnight's Fire gave Thrash a book that belonged to Diablo and a fragment of a Costone so he could go back in time and prevent the Stamford tragedy, which was the explosion, from happening. He was focused on this plan and became more and more absent from the team, which made them suspicious of what he was really up to. The New Warriors then took on Alpha Clan, and the Alpha Clan almost won, but Night Thrasher tricked them using new phasing technology, and so Alpha Clan were defeated and handed over to the authorities. When an army of Skrulls showed up in New York City, they wanted to help, but Thrash convinced the team to stay away, to keep hiding. The general public were left to wonder if the New Warriors died in that televised blast or if they had escaped. And if they were around, were they themselves or were they Skrulls that were part of the secret invasion? Or were the Skrulls part of the tragedy and the real heroes were innocent? The New Warriors followed Thrash, but then he stopped them, pulled off his helmet, and revealed that he wasn't Dwayne. He was Danielle, Dwayne's younger brother. This was Danielle's New Warriors, who teamed up with a team of former New Warriors called Counterforce, and they went to recover the bodies of Namorita, Microbe, and Night Thrasher. They had to battle through a swarm of Skrulls on a shield helicarrier to get to the stasis holding cell that held the 3 bodies. Danielle said he saw Microbe's body, and there was a vat for Namorita, but he was surprised to see his brother because he was told Dwayne was vaporized. Visibly shaken, Danielle did a DNA assay to determine if this was really his brother or not. They took the bodies and the next day buried them and mounted a plaque on a large stone as a monument to their fallen comrades. But then the New Warriors went through a time portal to the future where Tony Stark told them that Dwayne had been resurrected and took on the mantle of Iron Man and was running the whole country. So when they stormed his citadel to get back to their time, Danielle betrayed the team to stand with his brother Dwayne. But they ended up coming back, and Danielle and his team were there when the initiative was stood down and disbanded, much to their delight. And then, Dwayne, it turns out, never did die. He was pulled away an instant before the blast and forced to be a part of the collector's team under Maestro for 2016's Contest of Champions book, tasked as support. And during the Second Civil War, which centered around an Inhuman named Ulysses, Thrash was featured in the Choosing Sides book. Dwayne had been called to action by Adam Brashear, the Blue Marvel. In 2019, Thrash joined Punisher, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, Black Widow, and Rachel Cole to battle Baron Zemo. He then linked up with Blue Marvel again along with Jimmy Woo for a new and formerly Secret Avengers team called the 3X's, using Blue Marvel's Kaddish base as their own. Carol Danvers called them another Illuminati, but they assured her they were no Illuminati. Daredevil then brought Hawkeye, Thrasher, Falcon, and Winter Soldier together to raid one of the Hood's safe houses in Hawkeye Freefall. And in 2021, Dwayne was one of the many heroes called to Wakanda Prime by T'Challa to take a stand against the symbiote-influenced Killmonger and the Intergalactic Empire. And I guess he's been up there a while, since that's the last time we've seen him. Which means that's a wrap on this one, my friends. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and you'll be one of the first to know when I upload videos just like this every week. I'm Jesse, this is JLS Comics, and I'll see you soon.